Today's a really fun, special chapel. It's one of my favorites. Um, for our community, this chapel represents something meaningful, not just another gathering, really, but a milestone for these speakers that are speaking today, but for those seniors out there. This is your last chapel ever of your Jessup experience here. And we're really proud of you, and thank you for being here. And I know that this chapter of your life as it's ending, I know that it's shaped your life, it's deepened your faith, and we wouldn't be who we are as a Jessup community without you, senior, so I acknowledge that. Before I keep on going, I need to acknowledge the young lady that was just leading and prayed, Miss Jessica, I know as Burdick. She decided to get married, Miss Jessica Gray Burdick. I just want to say she is a testament to coming here, being a part of literally everything, committing to a sport, committing to being a part of the worship experience and everything, leading, serving, and then deciding to get married before she graduates. You know, just got back from Pac West Conference, you know, all the different things, right? And still making it a priority to come and worship and be a part of what we're doing. So Jessica, I honor you. Thank you for all you've done for us. You are awesome. So each year we invite seniors to step into this space and represent their class, not because they're perfect, but because their lives tell a story worth hearing. These students were nominated by faculty, staff, and peers who have seen their character up close, who have witnessed their growth, their perseverance, and the way they've lived out their faith in this community. So today we have 3 of them actually who carry that responsibility and honor to each. They each come from different stories, different experiences, and different voices, but they share one thing in common. God has been at work in their lives during their time here at Jessup. So this morning I want to give this invite to you to listen, not only to listen, but to lean in, because I think they have some pretty powerful things to say. And I know God is going to move in their life and has been. The stories that they already have of where they're going after this is amazing. And a lot of you have shared this campus with them. You've sat in classrooms with them, and you've navigated a lot of the same challenges with them. So I want you to just to lean in and pay attention to what's going on this morning. Our first speaker is Nick. I'm going to let him do all the introductions of himself. Following Nick, we'll hear from Laura. And then closing, we have brother, who I call Malichi, but he's Mr. Malachi, and we're excited to have them. So they're just going to kind of come up after each other. We won't introduce them all, each one by one, but we're honored to have them. So Mr. Nick, would you come on up? Let's honor them as they come up and speak this morning.
Well, thank you, PJ. It is awesome to be up here speaking at Chapel once again, one final time. I had the opportunity to speak in the November of 2024 at Monday Night Chapel, and I had the most awesome experience where I wrote out this really cool joke, and we were inside the student union there, and I cracked the joke, and absolutely nobody in the room laughed, and I still, to this day, think about that. But in those moments, you really learn about God, and you really learn that you got to trust and surrender on Him. A little bit about me. I had the opportunity. I was born and raised in Fresno. I played 2 years of college golf at a junior college, Fresno City College, and had these big dreams to go play on the PGA Tour, win majors, and live like this really awesome, incredible life that glorified God through playing very successful golf. Through my sophomore year, the recruiting process didn't go the way that I expected, and I ended up playing nowhere, and I thought my college career was absolutely done. And then a weird opportunity came about to come here to Jessup, and when I think about the opportunity to come to Jessup, it was really funny because there was literally every reason to not come here made sense. It checked no boxes for me, and it's really weird because I felt called to be here. And because of that, getting a phone call in my notes, because of that, I was like, you know what? It doesn't make sense to come here. Let's do it anyways, and let's follow what God has to say. And I will say this, I do not regret it. When I was kind of preparing and kind of thinking about what I was going to say, I was trying to think about what I was going to miss about this place. And as I kind of mentioned, 2 years at Fresno City, I'm stepping into another season of life in 2 years where I'm going to spend out in Texas, and I took a position as a grad assistant at Baylor University. And it's kind of sad because you spend 2 years at a place, you get to know everybody, you get to build these relationships, and then you leave. And the reality of that is I did that at Fresno City, and now I'm getting to walk through that process again. And I'm going to miss the people here the most. I think one of the coolest things about Jessup is the people, and getting to have the opportunity to be poured into and just have these people who really love you is something that I'm going to miss. And, obviously going to Texas is cool, and doing the things and stepping into the real world is something that's really important and special to me. But Jessup has impacted me in ways that I can't describe. Because see, when I got here at the beginning of my time here, it was kind of rocky for me, to say the least. I didn't really have a ton of friends. Even when I spoke at Chapel in November of 24, I almost kind of felt like I didn't know who I was going to text and tell, hey, I'm speaking. It was a really weird, tough process in my life. But when I think about that, I think about the opportunity it gave me to grow and to be stretched as a person. The cool part to me about Jessup is it's small, and because it's small, you get opportunities to do a lot of different things. And so, as I mentioned, I've played on the golf team here. I got to connect well with FCA and got to speak at local FCA huddles and kind of share a little bit what I'm talking about now. And then I had the opportunity in a weird situation this spring to become our public address announcer for a good amount of our sporting events, which was a cool, fun role. And then I always tell students here that check your emails, because you don't know the opportunities that's going to come your way. One day I checked my email, and I think Jerome had sent me an email saying, hey, you want to go speak with Francis Chan? And that's a really cool opportunity that I'll always be incredibly thankful for. Kind of sharing all this, a verse comes to mind. And anytime you kind of give a one-off speak, I've shared that I speak at FCA a lot. The thing to me that I struggle with is I feel like I always got to go to coffee mug Bible verses. But when I was really thinking about my time at Jessup, a coffee mug Bible verse came to mind, and Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. That verse became a promise, right? If you trust in the Lord with all your heart, not just some of it, with all your heart, that's really hard to do. And you don't lean on your own understanding. That's something that if you personally know me, know that I'm not very good at. Submit to him, he'll make your path straight. And when I talked about coming to Jessup and it not feeling right and getting here and just feeling like, man, why am I here? I don't really understand why I'm here, Lord. This doesn't make sense. In the last 6 weeks, I've gotten to see that come true, that he will make your path straight. It's a promise that sometimes in the moment we don't fully understand, but when we get to walk it out and live it out, it's absolutely incredible. I feel like I keep talking about what I'm going to miss in this, but I can't say it enough. It's my 2 years here, they went really fast. Psalm 90, verse 12, I don't have memorized off the top of my head, but talks about teaching us to number our days so we can gain wisdom. And one thing about me that I love is I love whiteboards, and I like writing down countdowns on whiteboards, because sometimes time just moves really, really quickly. And if you don't number your days, you're not really going to know how fast they go by. And I'll never forget, at the beginning of the year, I had the opportunity, I wrote out the whiteboard days till graduation on May 2nd. And I remember it being over 115 days. And now we're less than almost exactly a week away, 8 days away. And I think about that, and I think about the people, I think about the opportunities here and the moments. And I'm just incredibly, incredibly thankful for everybody who poured into me, everybody who put up with me, and everybody who, everything about Jessup, because it gave me a space to grow, gave me a space to fail, a place to learn, and step into things that, honestly, I think about some of the roles that I had getting to do in athletics, I probably shouldn't have gotten to do, but I was incredibly thankful for those moments, and I just can't radiate that enough, that, if you trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean on your own understanding and acknowledge him, he will make your path straight. So just want to say I've been incredibly thankful for what the Lord has done through me and done through Jessup in my time here, my 2 years here. And although I'm excited for what's going to happen in Texas for me in the next season of my life, I'm just incredibly thankful for the people and the time that I spent here. So, yeah. I guess with that in mind, I get the opportunity to introduce our next speaker, Miss Laura Everett.
All right. Hi, guys. My name's Laura. I am about to graduate from the nursing program here at Jessup. What I've loved the most about my time here at Jessup has just been the unique experience of being at a Christian university. It's been really special to be able to be poured into constantly. I think it's been really cool to just get to learn about God in all of our classes, and then actually pursue Him at chapels and get to jump into discipleship with my peers. I'm very grateful for my time at Jessup. I feel like it's had a huge impact on my faith, to where my faith looks totally different now from when I came in. I got to get baptized at a chapel here when I was a sophomore, and then I was able to kind of start stepping out in my faith more. And like this past semester, I got to lead a Bible study with my peers. We went through Romans together, and that was just really special to see what it looks like to kind of get ready to practice faith like on your own, because we'll be leaving Jessup, all of us at some point. And I feel like it's prepared me to be able to be more independent with my faith when I leave. But when thinking about like my life in college and my faith, and thinking about like what's important to me, I was reminded of how Dr. Lovelace encouraged us about Matthew 14 at one of the very first chapels this semester. And that's the part of the Bible where it's talking about Jesus walking on water. So he had left the disciples, and they're on a boat, and they see like a figure. They think it's a ghost. They get super scared. But then Jesus announces himself to them, and Simon Peter's like, okay, if it's actually you, God, then tell me to come out to you. And Jesus says, okay, come out, meet me on the water. And so Simon Peter steps off the boat to go to Jesus. He's acting on faith, but then the wind picks up, and he gets pretty scared, and he starts to sink, and he calls out, Lord, save me. And so Jesus immediately grabs him, and he's like, you have little faith. Why did you doubt? And I just think it's so amazing that he was willing to step out in faith even though he was scared. He didn't know how every detail of getting to Jesus was going to work. He didn't know how he was going to take a step or even like stand on water. He didn't know if he'd sink. He didn't know how any of it would work, but he still stepped out. And I just remember when Dr. Lovelace was talking about that, I was like, okay, I'm going into my last semester, and then after this, I'm going to step out and start my career. And I just think it's important for us all to remember to be willing to step out in faith, and just remember and be encouraged, like your faith doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be enough to get you to say yes to God and to move. And to me, the most beautiful part of this story is in verse 31 when it says, immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. Because it just reminds me that God won't let you go. Jesus was right there with Simon Peter, and he caught him. And so whatever might be holding you back in your faith, in this case it was Peter's fear, that's not going to change the fact that God is fully with you. So even though Peter felt a little bit shaky, he was still moving for God. And I feel like a lot has come up in my college career that's made me feel a little shaky. I didn't feel super confident, and I felt unsure a lot about what it was that I'm doing. And I feel like all of us experience this in life to some point where it's like one thing and then another will just compound and kind of make you feel discouraged. I remember I started clinicals, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if I want to be a nurse because I feel like I can't do this. And I remember it was my junior year in the spring. I had studied a whole weekend and almost bombed a test, and I was really nervous that I wasn't going to get the grades that I needed to not get dropped from the nursing program. And then I was not sleeping a lot so I could study, and we were on hour 4 in an early morning ICU 12-hour clinical shift. And I remember I was sitting at the nurse's station trying to do some charting, and I was in a boot because I had just gotten surgery to try and fix an injury I'd been dealing with for the first half of my junior year. And an ICU nurse walks up to me, and she puts her hand on my shoulder, and she goes, you know, nurses need to be on their feet. you might need to pick a different career. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the last thing I need to hear right now. And so it was just like so much discouragement at the same time. But I realized that in those moments when I felt like I wasn't going to be able to fill all the things I needed to do and be able to meet each expectation and goal on the path I'd been set on, was remembering to actually reach out to God, to actually stop and call for him. And so when I finally did sit down and reach out and say, like, God, I need your help, I don't think I can do this, I realized that I had shut myself out of feeling his presence and peace because I hadn't called out to him. So it was like I had shut off me connecting to God, even though he hadn't ever left me. And so when I did that, I realized that that's how I could foster gratitude for the blessings that God was actively cultivating in my life. At the same time, I was feeling discouraged. He opened my eyes more to the friendships I'd been developing, my mentorships and supervisors here at Jessup, and the beautiful parts of my experiences in nursing school. And so if you're walking on the path that God has for you, and you got too caught up in the challenges, just stop for a minute, sit with him and pray. If you need to call out for him out of necessity, because you haven't done that in a long enough time, do that if you need to. Just make sure that you lean on him. The hope that you can have in the moments when things are more rough comes from knowing that God is with you. You know it and you trust it, even when you can't feel it. I know I hadn't been feeling that encouragement, but because I was able to know it, that's where my actual hope was able to come from. And so this had all taught me a very valuable lesson about submitting to God's will. I'm the type of person that likes to control every part of my life. With my friends, I'm the one that offers to drive because I want to make sure I know how we're getting somewhere, you know. I like to plan way ahead. I feel like I'm always working on a 3 to 5 year plan, and my parents know I'll tell them details about what I want to do for my next degree, even if I haven't started this one, you know. So I just have a hard time. It's not natural for me to be able to want to fully trust in anything, and so I've really been trying to focus on walking in full trust with God and understanding that if he's called me to something, I can trust even if every detail isn't set in stone yet. Before I started at Jessup, I was very nervous about how I was going to get to a career path in nursing. I really doubted if I'd be able to get the grades that I needed to and put together an application that was good enough to get into the program. And I just felt like God was really pushing me toward this career path, but I didn't know if I could do the work to actually get there. But then I realized that I could trust enough that if God put a pull in my heart towards something and it's something good and it's about serving him and trying to live a life for him, that he would ultimately bring me to where he would will for me to be. So my constant prayer in this last part of college with exams and projects and preparing for our big exit exam, which is a 5 semesters into 1 test kind of thing, a lot of pressure with that, was just actually stopping and then just trying to pray God, I trust that your will be done. Help me trust in you. So actually asking him for help with trusting him as well. And I realized that living into submission to God's will means that you just need to continue to pursue God by living for him and then calling for his will to be done. So that looked like giving up my wants for every detail of my life to work out the way I wanted it to, and then to let things fall into place as I would more humbly accept what God's will for my life would be. So for me, that was stopping trying to work out things so far ahead and to actually try to work for Jesus where I'm at right now and live in trust for now and try to work for him where I'm at. So I have to tell you that this has brought me immeasurable peace. I feel like when God teaches us lessons and we are able to spiritually mature, that's never a straight and easy path to get there. But there's nothing like the peace that we can experience when we're trying to live and fully trust in God. I feel like this peace has been the biggest change in my life, specifically this year. My friends have told me you don't talk the same, you just feel different. And so when you actually can find that peace in God, it'll change you. And for all of us, we're going to either go on to a next year of school, or we're going to start a career or our next degree. And then for our faculty, you guys are moving into a new season too. And so anytime that we're changing seasons, it kind of feels like we're stepping out of our own boat, trying to go to where God's calling us. But what we all need to do when we feel unsteady and like we feel that shakiness come up is to just first know and then trust in God and call out and reach for Him. So just make sure that we all do that as we go on to our next season. All right, Malachi, you want to finish this off for your last one?
Hello, everyone. How are y'all doing today? I feel like I should start off with a "What's up, Warriors?" But yeah. But before I start, I just want to say it is weird being up here and speaking for chapel. Usually, I'm the one who is doing all the behind the scenes stuff for chapels and making sure they all work out production wise. But yeah, so it's kind of a full circle moment here. Being able to come up here and speak with you guys. So let me pull up my notes real quick. To give a little introduction, my name is Malachi Wasney. I will be graduating with a degree in digital communication, art, and design, with a concentration in content creation. And I'm sure most of you know me as that guy who's on What's Up Jessup, or that guy on What's Up Jessup that doesn't know what a haircut is. And obviously that still hasn't changed. But yeah, so before I came to Jessup, I was in a bit of a, not necessarily a rough spot, but more so a place of just like wanting more. And obviously, a lot of us were exposed to COVID at the time and all of the effects that had on the whole world, especially for schools. And so for me, I got pulled out of like my in-person like school, not just like because of COVID. Like there were other stuff that was going on with that, but I was then put into like a strictly online school. So it was just wake up, watch videos, do quizzes and tests for however long, and then be done. And it was just rinse and repeat for like 2 years. And so I didn't really have much interaction with others aside from like my family, and then the times I would go to church on Sunday and interact with people my age. But I just wanted a place where I just wanted that feeling of being able to rub shoulders with my peers in person and be able to find that community and find a community where I can belong and truly call home. And that's essentially what Jessup was for me. And so yeah, and being involved in the community here has helped me so much. I know it's kind of a cliche answer here at Jessup, like whenever you're asked, like, what are like the best things here at Jessup, and people always say the community, but it's very factual. The community here is like no other, and you come here and it immediately feels like you're home when you've only been here for like a day or two. But yeah, my time here at Jessup, while it was super beneficial and I've loved the majority of it, there have been a few rocky parts. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. And so my sophomore year was definitely the hardest for me because now I don't mean this as a diss to my RA people out there, but sorry, Cooper. But well, yeah, I was an RA my sophomore year, and it wasn't the best fit for me. There was a lot of times where I was struggling, not necessarily like knowing what I was supposed to be doing and how I was supposed to be able to do it right. And it felt like whenever I took one step forward, I went 8 steps back right after. And so, yeah, but at the end of the day, that's also the beauty of Jessup and the college experience in general, is being able to discover what it is that you are proficient at and being able to figure out, okay, these are things that I'm not exactly good at, and then let me try other things to see what I'm actually good at. And so that's essentially, and that's how like I want to segue into just my growth as being a leader, because coming into Jessup, I had no intents and purposes of becoming a leader in any way or being in any type of leadership role. I was always the person who, like, if it was like a group project or something, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna defer it to these people, and they got it, and whatever they need from me, I'll do that. But that's like in their hands. I'm not going to get involved. But um, through my like job here, like being a part of media services shout out, woo! But, being a part of media services has truly helped me to grow in that leader aspect, and being able to say like, you know what, I can do this, I can lead these people, I can delegate, I can instill confidence into others, as well as being a section leader for UCO as well, University Choir and Orchestra. And to talk about that briefly, like I was offered the section leader position like towards the end of my sophomore year, and I just have to thank Dr. Tom Rusika. If you're watching this, Tom, thank you. Because I did not think I was qualified whatsoever to be a section leader. I immediately, when he came to me with the proposal, I was like, have you talked to this person? Have you talked to that person? I did not think I was in any way equipped, but sometimes you just need someone to believe in you, and that is what can set you up for success. And so that's another thing that has truly shaped me and grown me, and how I've grown into the leader that I have become today. And so I wanted to highlight 3 verses that I've discovered recently, and that can be used to describe my Jessup experience. So the first verse will be coming out of Job 23:10, and I will be reading from the New King James Version, and let me find it real quick. And so it states, but he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. And there are going to be a lot of trials and tribulations that you're going to face. Matter of fact, we're entering into finals week. That's a trial in itself. And so you're going to have so many experiences. Like before I even came up here, I just had another thought. Like I had a speech that just came to me, and if you, like any like sports fans out there, if you know who Michael Irvin is, like one of the biggest hype men you could ever have, and he made an analogy of David versus Goliath, and how God sent David to slay Goliath, but obviously you see David, who is a frail little guy. You wouldn't expect him to slay a giant like Goliath, but God believed in the giant within David to slay Goliath, and he knew that David would come to the challenge and be able to achieve that. And so you're going to be faced with things that seem insurmountable and seem like there is no possible way that you can accomplish this, but you can, and through prayer and just a confidence that God can instill in you, you can do anything. And that's why, and like the verse says, you will be shaped as gold, like shaped into gold after the trial is over. And then the second verse I want to highlight is Ephesians 5:15 through 16. I'll flip over to that real quick. And it states, "See then that you walk circumspectly," what a word there, "not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. This world is cruel it is chaotic, it's going to knock you down. It's not going to give you the time to breathe. You're going to face a lot of issues, a lot of troubles, but it is important that you always come into each day with a mind of, how can I make it better and how can I serve God in this aspect? One of the main things that I like to live by is to look positively in any situation, like no matter how negative it is, because if you're looking at it through a negative perspective, you're just going to make yourself worry a lot more than you really should be. Because yes, these days are evil. Yes, things are going to happen. There are going to be many issues in life, but it all matters on, okay, how can I actually turn this into something that is a positive, and how can I make this better than it really is right now? And then the third verse I want to look at is Luke 6:37. And basically, I accidentally lost my spot. My phone was like the bookmark for that verse. But it basically says to not judge others, essentially, when you are imperfect yourself. And that also leads to, I'm sure, it's a pretty well-known quote, but who am I to judge another when I myself walk imperfectly? And that is so true. And I know there are people that are gonna rub us the wrong way. There are people that are those planes are planing right now. Oh, the helicopter! Wow. But there are things that are gonna happen. People are going to do things that you may not like, and you're going to be quick to judge, and you're immediately going to be put off by everything. But self-reflection is huge, because we're all humans. We're all we've all been made in the image of God, and we're all going to mess up. It's important to have that grace for each other, because how are we as believers? How can we call ourselves believers if we are just going to knock others down and knock fellow believers down, when we could be helping them and ushering them into greater success? And so that's another thing that goes with the think positively in the bad and negative moments, is that there are things are going to happen, and here at Jessup, things are going to happen, whether it's like, oh, I'm not graduating on time, or I'm failing this class. Things are going to happen, but it all depends on you. And if you're going to God for these struggles and having him and inviting him in to the chaos, and having him be right there with you. And so that's kind of like my encouragement to all of you as you continue to go through your Jessup experience, whether it's still going or it's coming to an end. I just hope and pray that you all will continue to involve God in the day-to-day, and amidst all the chaos, and be ready to take on the trials that this world may have for you. So I'm going to pray us out, and I will also be giving you your code as well, and then PJ will come up to dismiss you. So, dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this day, and I just thank you for just Jessup in itself, and thank you for putting me here and giving me the experience to rub shoulders with my peers and be able to minister in any way that I can to them. And I'm just thankful for everyone who is here, and all the students here at Jessup, and I pray that you can continue to be with them and guide them in their day-to-day, and just be there for them, and that they can know that they can always call on you for anything that they may be going through. And I just pray that people will continue to involve you and strive to know you, and forge a deeper relationship with you. And in your name I pray, amen.